We're gathered to acknowledge the work of Wang Wenlan, and it is prodigious, as all of you can see. The timeline that is illustrated here is a lot of it has to do with the Chinese association with the bicycle, once a staple of every individual, both young and old. And even now, as the bicycle recedes into the smog of China, created at least in small part by the bicycle being replaced by the car, massive surge in car ownership that only we in Los Angeles can fully understand. I have my own association with bicycles in Hong Kong when I was there. Now the Special Administrative Region of the People's Republic of China, aka Hong Kong. As a newly minted expat in Hong Kong in the late 1980s and a long-standing bicycle enthusiast, I was out on an inaugural ride on my just purchased brightly colored mountain bike. I had a new helmet, wrap-around mirrored sunglasses, spandex bike pants, a team jersey, and as a nod to China, a bicycle bell on the handlebars. I was negotiating the always chaotic Queensway Road, a main thoroughfare in Hong Kong, complete with its embedded tram tracks for the equally infamous Hong Kong tramway. I was marveling at the contrast as I passed a middle-aged man, bare-chested, with rubber boots, who was also on a bicycle. It was a solid, yet rusty working hulk of a bike. He had on shorts and a cigarette dangled from his lips. His massive front basket was filled with freshly slaughtered and plucked chickens, and I presumed as I rode alongside him that he was headed for the central market that was not far away. As I passed him on my shiny new bike, I gave him a jingle with my shiny new bell, and a little wave as I zipped stylishly past him. Once ahead, I cut back in front, not noticing that my front tire had dropped into the trench for the tram tracks. In a split second, my bike toppled over and me along with it. As I lay there trying to assess the damage to myself and, more importantly, to my brand new bicycle, I heard the delicate ring of a bicycle bell. I looked up to meet the eyes of the chicken delivery man, the cigarette still dangling from his lips, but now with a sly smile, he pedaled past. In the way of an introduction, it was the summer of 1988. I had finished an assignment for the Chicago Tribune as a photographer / photo editor covering the Olympic Games in Seoul. I was waylaid in Hong Kong by a passing typhoon, and I took the opportunity to drop into the local newspaper, the South China Morning Post. That led to further correspondence with a British editor of the newspaper at the time. And in early June 1989, just days after the Tiananmen Square massacre, I landed at the now defunct Kai Tak Airport. With the editor's driver behind the wheel of the company's Mercedes on that day, en route to the newspaper, I noticed a simple piece of black cloth tied around the hood ornament of the car, and I knew my life was about to change, and it did. The photo department I assumed control of on that day was like the rest of the territory, being whipsawed by a full gamut of emotions: sadness for those that died, anger toward the perpetrators, confusion and anxiety over their jobs, their families in Hong Kong. Were also questions that were left to be answered, in addition to the direction of democracy, which had always stirred in Hong Kong, even if unfulfilled. China, of course, absorbed that body blow, as it would many others in the ensuing years, both natural and man-made. Not forgotten, however, were the images that stick with all of us, many of them from Hong Kong, The gentleman staring down the tanks in Tiananmen Square was a classic. The internally displaced tens of thousands who had left their ancestral homes to make way for the Three Gorges Dam. The 2008 Sichuan earthquake that killed nearly 70,000 people. And now the omnipresent masks warding off the effects of air pollution. While photo editing for the South China Morning Post, it was much like the rest of the territory, a multitude of options and always a frenetic quest to get more. While the newspaper had its hands full covering the territory, there was always a watchful eye on China and the question of self-censorship. To that end, I founded the Hong Kong Press Photographers Association, modeled upon its American counterpart and aimed at protecting photographers' rights in China. As I believe it remains today, the desire to cover China was tempered with the knowledge that the press, at least as a business model, could be crushed, as was most recently evidenced by the Apple Daily newspaper and its founder, Jimmy Lai Chi. His pro-democracy and anti-government editorial stance led to advertising boycotts by property developers and the territory's major banks, all of whom had a mindful eye towards their business stance with its neighbor to the north. With a heavy heart, I left Hong Kong in 1995, knowing that a free press and a communist government trying to feel their way through the delicate balance of a one-country, two-system agreement would be, in the long run, heavily weighted towards Beijing. My ensuing role with the Los Angeles Times led to responsibility for national and foreign photo coverage and selection and play of pictures on that paper's front page. By contrast, I never feared for government reprisal, objections of course, but always with the belief that we were delivering to our readers what we were delivering to our readers was in their best interest and informed Americans capable of making their own decisions. In 1997, I returned on behalf of the LA Times to document Hong Kong's return to China. On the day of the official handover, I photographed a troop carrier unloading crisply uniformed Chinese regular army soldiers outside what had been the British military's central garrison on Hong Kong Island. One of the soldiers, seeing me raise my camera, shouted and motioned me away. I continued to shoot. This beautiful display of work by Wang Wenlan is a testimony to one photographer's quest to document a great country with seemingly endless potential that goes far beyond its one-time dependence on bicycles as a mainstay for local transportation. His avenue of exposure is the government-sponsored Chinese daily newspaper that is the widest print circulation of any English language paper in China. My hope is that he and the millions of other Chinese now capable of reaching a mass audience involving the realm of social media, reaching that audience with pictures and stories, can circumvent some of the country's imposed restrictions and continue to document their story as one of the world's most intriguing and powerful nations, one that once moved mostly by bicycle. 谢谢。